Hello, good morning and welcome. My name is Liz and today I'll be introducing a new segment called Original versus Sequel. As you can imagine, doing shot for shot for longer franchises such as Harry Potter can take a really long time, so I'm going to split it up by doing shorter videos every other week. So today we're going to debate the original versus the sequel and finally figure out which is better, Princess Diaries or Princess Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement. In the original, Mia finds out that she's actually the granddaughter of the reigning queen of a small European country between France and Spain, doesn't make sense, called Genovia, meaning that she's the princess and royal heir to the throne. Mia has to decide whether or not she wants to be a princess, all the while struggling with all the trials and tribulations that befall a teenage girl. In the sequel, Mia has to find a husband within 30 days, otherwise she won't be able to become queen. Otherwise she forfeits her crown to Chris Pine. I'm giving the plot point to the sequel because, 30 days, a time restriction, an ultimatum to find love? That's the good shit. But both movies get points for being produced by Whitney Houston.
I love it.
The sequel gets more points because we see more of her cat, Fat Louie, in it. The original gets a point because her best friend Lily is actually a character in it and doesn't just sit there while Mia does things. The original also gets a point for having Sandra Oh in it, but obviously the sequel gets points for having a better love interest. Chris Pine is hotter, his character's more interesting. Oh, also Raven-Symoné is in this one. Joe the bodyguard is a lot more interesting in the original, but let's get into the nitty-gritty. The gritty-nitty. The original gets some very specific points. She rides a razor scooter everywhere. Michael plays the piano with M&Ms on the keys. The embassy saying keep off the grass in a bunch of different languages. Her mom divorced a prince so that she could be a painter and live in an old firehouse in San Francisco. That's my dream. Just in case I'm not enough of a freak already, let's add a tiara. Good line. Her getting ready in the morning and then saying, well, this is as good as it's gonna get. Mia complains about the limo and calls it a hearse, and Joe says if it were a hearse, there would be silence in the back seat. He fixes cars, he plays guitar, and he can sing. Taking that point away. Finding out that Joe and Clarice are a thing, and he says, you've been wearing black too long. And they dance. The makeover and Paolo brushing out her hair and the brush breaking, it's happened to me. Joe with the line, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. Okay, Miss Roosevelt. Voltaire, hair. I would personally like to learn about Voltaire. Thank you for being here today. This couple wants the crown and someone says, to the Baron and Baroness, may you always be Baron. Them crashing into a trolley. That's incredible. Mia wanting a foot pop for her kiss. Her having a pore strip on her nose when Michael comes over. Her dumping an ice cream cone on the cheerleading uniform of her enemy. I am invisible and I am wet. Catch a falling star and put it in your pocket. Her accepting her role as princess. Woo! Let's give some sequel points. This movie has the same editor as Indiana Jones 1 and 2, and the screenplay was written by Shonda Rhimes. She has to dance with every single eligible bachelor. Incredible. A queen is never late. Everyone else is simply early. Definitely use that excuse. Eggs with Elsie. I would love to have a talk show. All I do is talk. Brigitte and Brigitte and them curtsying for just way too long. Clarice standing up for her granddaughter in Parliament. Nepotism belongs in the arts, not in plumbing. Hilarious. The Queen invites evil Chris Pine to stay and Joe says, I offer to have him hung up by his toes in the courtyard. We love Joe. They have a slideshow of all of the men that she could marry to get the crown. And Charlotte, the assistant, puts Prince William on there just for fun. So she and this pilot date because, they're on a time crunch. And he gives her his grandmother's ring in an old canister of film. He's a great guy. Lily singing They're Smitten while playing badminton. Where is my kitten? Icon. Chris Pine and Anne Hathaway in a broom closet. That's the point. Her pretending to ride side saddle with a little prosthetic leg named Herbie. Joe is threatening the evil guy and the evil guy says, fear isn't in my vocabulary. And Joe says, yeah, but it's in your eyes. The whole garden party where she's fighting with Chris Pine and saying, I loathe you, and then they fall into a fountain. It's great. Glorious even. There's a parade and she like gives her crown to a bunch of orphans, including Abigail Breslin. It's cheesy, but I did actually cry. Chris Pine's glasses. I said it. Every single part of her bachelorette party, she has a bunch of tiny princesses come over and they mattress surf, and Raven-Symoné and Julie Andrews sing Your Crowning Glory, which is incredible. Great song. That will be your crowning glory. Like, that didn't have to be in the movie, but I'm so glad it was. Chris Pine teaching her how to shoot an arrow. It's kind of hot. Princess Ami has to go potty. Nicholas literally throwing rocks at her window. Nicholas riding a giant bicycle to go stop a wedding? Yes! Stan Lee is in Princess Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement. Surprise! She calls off the wedding and her grandma is like, yeah, I support you. Chris Pine refuses the crown and is like, I'm not gonna be king, even though that was his intention the whole movie because he thought that's what his dad wanted. They motion for a vote while they're at a wedding in order to change the law so she can be queen without having to marry a man. Incredible. Clarice and Joe then get married. Amazing. So you can see where we're at with our points, but we've got to take points away. Let's start with the sequel. Mia majored in diplomacy and political science, and all poli-sci majors are douchebags, so. Michael's band was good enough to go on tour? I don't think so. There's a poodle named Maurice, and I don't think he belongs there. The Viscount is just like too openly evil. Like, you'd think that people would be like, maybe we shouldn't invite him to parties, but. They're that rich and royal, and she just eats Haagen-Dazs? Not like a fun Ben & Jerry's flavor. Doesn't sit right with me. In the first movie, she says that she's good at solo sports, yet when it comes time for her to do archery, she's like, I can't. And the same with horseback riding. Her prosthetic leg falls off when she's riding a horse and someone says, talk about getting off on the wrong foot. Lily and her mom add nothing to this movie at all. Does Abigail Breslin really need to be in this movie? I don't think so. I just feel like Chris Pine and his family would have like more than one car and then he wouldn't have to ride a bicycle and then a horse to get to a wedding, but could just be me. Lily complains about her bridesmaid's dress and is like, I'm a girl who wears black wearing pink. When you're like, pink is gross, you're just like supporting the hatred of femininity. That's patriarchal shit. Not in my Wendy's. Let's attack the original. Mia's like, I'm invisible. How can anyone be invisible with that hair? The love interest Josh, there's nothing to him. Like, look into that man's mind, the only thing going on in there is the Wii theme music. The rock climbing place she works at is called Rocks Around the Clock. I hate it. Just like, how would you get around not knowing that your grandmother was a queen? Like, I feel like you'd know.
Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know? How would they know?
She throws up during her speech and the evil girl says, are you speaking at the bulimic convention? Let's not make fun of eating disorders, but that's just me. Lily's like, it's been 2 months since your dad died and you're not over it? They're anti-curly hair. They're like, instead of nourishing your frizzy hair and letting those curls like shine through, we're gonna straighten it. Someone says the Genovian pear market is blossoming. The paparazzi try to walk in on her in a changing tent. That seems like child pornography to me. Michael's hair at the end of the movie. It's really bad. Well guys, 22 versus 17. The sequel is the winner. Give it up for Princess Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement. Woo! I mean, with Chris Pine in it, the original didn't stand a chance. Please let me know if you disagree in the comments. I've been begging to eviscerate someone in a debate. I'm just kidding. Also, these are just our tights. Anyways, thank you so much for watching Original versus Sequel. Please let me know if you disagree in the comments and let me know what pair should go head to head next. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned next week for another video. Bye! Monkey!